Welcome back. In this lecture, I want to talk about a few specific tactics or specific questions that you need to ask to advance your product definition project. So far, what have we done? We have looked at the new product introduction process. That is again a bigger, higher level picture. Now you have a bigger view of how the future in your product definition exercise is going to look like, all these various gates that you have to pass through. And so far you have asked only a few top level questions, very important questions, but still they are top level. Number one, what problem this customer is going to solve with the new product, and how this product is in line with your company strategy, and is it going to make any money, is it worth investing in this product development. But what you want to do is you want to be very specific. You want to go down to the ground level. You want to ask specific questions that'll get you closer to answering what the actual product should be. And so again, specific product related questioning, specific customer segment related questioning, and specific even sometimes customer specific requirements or needs. You want to sort of hone in on those type of specifics. And so what I want to do in this is I want to sort of present to you a what you call a way you can go forward. I believe that by and large the approach that I'm going to describe to you is applicable to pretty much all the technology companies. And so what's the first thing you need to do? As a product manager, first thing you need to do is remember way back when your boss asked you that she wanted you to put together a preliminary product definition. And then she said, and I said that, the reason why she might be asking you is she really wants your independent opinion. She knows that there are other people in the company who may already have an opinion about what the next product should be. But, you kind of want to bring in your fresh perspective and, either validate the company thinking or maybe change it or, find different ways to, get to the same result, so to speak. So the wisdom in this is, first of all, you have the company colleagues who already know a lot about the current product, the previous products, and they have thought through where they think is the best way to go forward with the new product direction. So I would suggest that your first task should be that you should talk to pretty much everyone in the company. And when I say everyone in the company, as I show in this graphic here, pretty much, the engineering side of the equation, the system group, the UI group, the database guys, software guys, hardware guys, if that's relevant. Even on the support side, the field sales, frontline support, whoever is the eyes and ears in front of the customer, hand holding them to use your product and so forth. And those guys, and also the marketing people who have been in touch with the customers and customers' product marketing teams. And so pretty much anyone who have touched the product in some way or the other will have an opinion as to what the next version should be. And almost mandatorily, you should talk to them. And how do you go about doing it? Obviously, you as a product manager, you already have an advantage in the sense they know that you're responsible for the new product definition, and so they're going to be open-minded about talking to you. They know you're responsible to advance this definition stage to a final outcome where the product development actually starts. And so what I want to present to you next is, once you made up your mind, once you began talking to all of these guys, instead of just simply, first of all, obviously you should listen to them and let them talk. But at the same time, it always helps if you shape your thinking with a few intelligent ways of questioning and how do you want to do the product definition going forward. So, for example, the first question, one of the questions you should be thinking about is, let's say you have a leadership position in your market segment today. It could be a small market segment or a bigger, whichever. You feel that you are in the front number one position as far as the leadership is concerned. Then the question obviously you want to ask is, how do you defend that number one position? So basically, that's one way you want to put that. How can I make sure that my company's number one position is not compromised, and in fact the lead? How do I make sure that that strength is still rooted firmly after I get the new product out? In fact, the new product should help sustain that number one position. Another question you want to ask is this. You may want to look back on how your revenue and sales performance was during the last 6 or 8 quarters. And if you notice, and if you see, and if there is a talk in the company among sales and marketing guys that the revenue goes up and down, and there is not a whole lot of a forward upward movement, but it's kind of sort of flat. And so that gives you an opportunity to ask the question, okay, what do I do to enhance my quarter by quarter growth in a steady manner? And if that leads you to, okay, this product might help you, this feature might help you, then that'll help advance the discussion, right? And then third question you may want to ask is, oftentimes it happens, and it happened to me in my personal life, professional life, so to speak, is that you define a product and you think you got it right and everything is fine, and you etch everything on stone, and you got the product development funded, and then a week later or 10 days later you get a press release from a competition that they have more or less a similar kind of product that you have, but they have something, that little bit of thing that is going to make your customer prefer that product. Now, it's not such a big deal to put that particular feature, but it just so happened that you did not think of it. That means you have defined your product insufficiently. Now, that is something that if it's a software product, probably it could be easier to recover from. But if it's a hardware product, and if you've gone down too much into the development phase, and maybe you need to rewind the clock a little bit, and it may involve costs and such. So the point is, how do you avoid the risk of defining your product insufficiently? So that is something that you want to keep thinking about all the time. And another way to approach it is, now currently your market focus is like in this direction. Your product is addressing this this market segment. Now what you want to do is you want to ask the question, how do I go to the adjacent market? This way, top, bottom, this way. That means one way to think about it is, your customers are using your product for one specific application or one specific need that they have, and they're using some other product which is to serve their needs a little bit adjacent to what your product is serving them. So you want to make sure that you think like this: what adjacent markets with the same technology that I have, with a little bit of a modification, how do I address these? How do I go build a product that I can sell into these adjacent markets? So that is another way. It's a classic way of all these technology companies. They look to expand their market presence, so that a company, for example, a startup, it could be a one-trick pony. It could have a single product and to start with, but then very methodically they sort of occupy the pretty much entire market landscape, because they methodically have gone out of their core markets and then occupied the adjacent markets with new products and so forth. So that's one way you can think about it. And then most importantly, whatever it is that you are trying to do, whether adjacent markets or trying to keep the performance, you want to ask one key question, which is, how can you differentiate on performance, functionality, cost, if it is a hardware or even a software product, and maybe how can you expand your platforms? Is that going to get you anywhere if you expand the platforms? For example, if you're already on Android and iOS, if it's a software product, mobile software product, is it worth going into a Windows platform? How do you see the future of Windows? Just hypothetically thinking like that. And also you may also want to think about, a product is good, but competition always seems to win out because they seem to have a better ease of use by the customers. We are entrenched, fine, we're not threatened by anybody, but customers do seem to say that their product is a better product to use, even though it's not as sophisticated as ours. So there is an out for you, meaning there is an opportunity for you to combine perhaps that ease of use with your product's sophistication. So again, I'm not trying to answer the question, what is the right answer to this? All I'm trying to do is, you need to think through all these variety of questions that will help you advance your thinking as to what makes your product definition more crispier. And another way you can think about in a brainstorming way is like this. Based on your last 4 to 6 quarter performance, not only revenue performance, but based on what your customer has told you and what your marketing and sales guys have been telling you, is this, that now you are faced with a few critical challenges. Everybody's pounding on your door saying, hey, this is not working, or we are tired of waiting for you to improve this product, or what have you. And so you want to sort of hone in on what those critical challenges are. Now is the time to address those critical challenges, because now you're defining a new product, right? That window is open. So you want to get it in before that window closes, because you want to get the product out fast. And also another thing is, if you are a company that is finding itself constantly being in a reactive mode, because either your competition is beating you to the punch, or maybe your customers are keeping you on the run, whichever it is, you're always, for some reason, you're always being on the reactive. You're not able to look up and chart your own course for 3 to 5 years down the line as far as the product roadmap is concerned. You want to take that on. You want to say, look, I'm tired of being reactive, going this way and that way. How can I make my product in such a way that I can, that sort of becomes a standard bearer for this industry segment? So I'm not running around trying to solve my product's problems every day, and I'm no longer in the reactive mode, but I'm better now able to help solve customers' problems. That is another way you can think about how to advance the next product discussion. And then another thing is, even though you have identified an adjacent market opportunity, maybe you feel that your execution is not fast enough, your product execution, product development execution, or what have you. So you want to get ahead, and you want to think about that also. And then another thing is, you want to also look at, if I define a new product, is it going to require the company to hire an entirely new development team? That's not a good idea, right? So you want to temper your definition within the realistic context of what your company can do. And so these are some of the ways you can think forward. I think these set of questions will get you started in the specifics of how do you advance.